KittenSneeze, or Robin, is an LGBT artist and animator. You may have heard them from the Spinel FNF mod, Stayed Gone song, or animated on Oreo's Digital Circus music video. Well, today, I, Dovin, interviewed them because I love looking at behind-the-scenes stuff. It's very fun, I love it, it's very nice. Think of this like a main documentary rather than a full interview. So be sure to stop drawing every once in a while and look at the screen, because there's gonna be important stuff to look at. And this is not a sleeping channel, I actually want you to pay attention, as this is actually a pivotal part of your life that we'll soon get into. Also, I don't know where I'm standing. KittenSneeze is a 21-year-old artist from Orlando, Florida. At an early age, she got into art from the likes of Don Bluth and Tim Burton. The former for animation, she would go down the Blockbuster aisle and watch all of the DVDs of any cartoon she could. But yeah, there's a place called Blockbuster where you rented DVDs and then you returned them. That's crazy, right? Around this age, at 9 or 10, I think, she would meet fellow artist and animator Jake Neutron.
We were babies, we were little kids, and we were in the same community spaces for My Little Pony. We were both like getting into animation and voice acting. We fell into like a Skype community of like other animators and voice actors, and then we kind of like stumbled into each other. We were kind of like the only ones within the same age group, so we just kind of connected and kind of moved away from these adult spaces that we really shouldn't have been in or invited to because we were babies, and kind of did our own thing.
At an early age, she would first get into the MVP fandom, even making animations using pre-made rigs of the characters. You can tell it was old because it was animated to a Smosh song back when Ian and Anthony were still together. Woof. I mean, meow? Like bunny noise? So she would of course branch off into other fandoms such as Steven Universe, The Owl House, and more recently Inside Job, and Inside Out 2. But the MLP fandom would also motivate her to try out voice acting. However, getting to music was another story.
My family is actually all musicians. My dad is a full-time piano player, musician, and my sister, I'll do music, I'll do like a cappella singing, stuff like that. So music has been at the root of my family and like upbringing since I was really, really little. And my mom, she's not a musician, but she is really, really into Broadway. From a very young age, would show me musicals like Wicked, Little Shop of Horrors, Cats, all this stuff that immediately clicked in my brain. I was like, oh, I really, really, really love this. And you can even see it in the music that I'm putting out now. I work on all those songs with my two brothers, Julian and Jason, and you can tell that I like theater. You can tell this was made by a theater kid.
Cause I know that you would do the same for me.
This should be a triple threat when it comes to online creation, and over the years, there would be a lot of Creighton. A note of voice acting, she would have a short-lived Let's Play series where she played as several characters: Rizali, Chara, and even Spinel.
First time I uploaded one of those like character-themed Let's Plays, I think I was like 16. It stemmed from like, hey, this game just came out with this character. I can do an impression of this character. Would it be crazy if I played the game as the character? And I just kind of like put my foot in the water and was like, let's see if people like this. And I like uploaded the first like Kara plays. It like did really, really well. And every time I uploaded a new one with like Undertale characters, it like blew up. And I think at one point, one of the videos went on trending, which was insane to me, especially like at like 16. I was like, whoa. And then the Spinel one, kind of like funny. I was just trying to think of games like with Spinel's like whole gimmick, like their whole theme, what games would be fitting for them to play. And I landed on like Cuphead and then Poppy Playtime. And it was fun. It was a way to like branch off into gaming, but also like include like the audience that followed me for cartoons. But I kind of want to like in the future branch off into doing just like gaming, just like not trying to do a character or anything, just like playing games. I think it's really, really fun.
Am I meant to just suffer for the rest of eternity?
I actually think more people should try this, as it gives you an opportunity to get better at improv. And the main difference between an impression and a voice is if you can do it a bit longer than just saying the catchphrase of the character. To which I did ask, and they are making a new voice acting reel, so don't you worry about it. I know you were worrying a bit, just a little bit. I see you typing. Speaking of her own voice, KittenSneeze is part of the LGBT fandom, and I saw a lot of questions asked about it, so let's let her talk about it. Let's let them talk about it. This was an awful transition.
I like hobbled back on like figuring out my identity for a very, very long time, like especially in high school. Being non-binary was something that like I went from like being, okay, no, I'm a woman, and then going to like, oh, maybe I'm trans, maybe I'm a guy, and then being like, no, I'm not a guy, but I'm not really like fully a girl either. And it took a lot of like going back and forth for me to realize, oh wait, there's literally a label for that. What am I doing? Kind of always knew I was gay. There was like short periods of time where it's like, maybe I'm bi, and then I like would try to date a guy. I was like, no, I'm gay. That's not gonna work.
I was mostly talking about girls.
It's always nice to see someone like yourself in the animation space. That was the whole sentence. I didn't really have anything else to add to that part. Circling back to animation, I'll just make a list of stuff that she uses, because that's very important to some people. On their iPad, she uses Procreate, but on her PC, she uses Toon Boom Harmony, Animates, and Storyboard Pro. For music, it could be Logic Pro and Mixcraft 7, but just a tiny bit of that latter part, just a little bit. For recording, their microphone would be the SM7B, as well as a Focusrite interface. Though I probably wouldn't recommend the Focusrite, as something more analog would get you better sound, and usually better bit rates. But editing-wise, she uses Adobe After Effects, as well as Movie Studio Platinum. Though I think she should use Premiere with After Effects because they link better. And also getting used to Clip Studio Paint more than Procreate would be very good, as desktop apps usually have a lot more control when it comes to drawing. Circling back to the content, what also helped propel them into internet fame would be their alternate reality dubs, such as their Spinel songs and animations, including an FNF mod. Also noting, of course, their more recent FNF mod featuring their OC, KittenSneeze.
Meow.
Though she is known for her more brand-based works, I always like to look at an artist's more original art. The three pieces to talk about right now would be X-Kids, Sexy Vampire, and Cliff and Fishes. Starting off with the first is an old project back from middle school days.
It kind of is just like been benched because I haven't really had time to develop it, and I haven't really thought about it really since like maybe early high school. But it was like the first project that I really wanted to develop into a show. So I kind of started make concept art. I think Jake had even like made music themes for like some of the characters, and I would like info dump back and forth with him and some of my other friends about like the ideas that I had for it. But ultimately it's kind of like scrapped, mainly because I was a kid. I wasn't really good at writing and I wasn't really good at character design, so none of it really can like stand the test of time. But it is something that I probably could revisit down the road and like overhaul.
The next one would be your scat film posted on our channel.
Sexy Vampire was one of the last collab films that I actually directed when I was at SCAD. Everyone's required to take a collaborative film class, and we all pitch ideas, and then 2 ideas are selected, and then there's 2 directors, and there's like groups of like 10 and another group of 10, and they make their separate films, and like we meet in the class and go over things with the professor, stuff like that. So it was the last film that I pitched and got to direct my senior year at SCAD.
See you tonight, Bug.
The last but not least is an idea she's been working on for quite a while.
Cliff and Fishes was my capstone thesis at SCAD. It is about 2 little creatures. One is a bull terrier named Cliff, and the other is this weird scientist named Fishes, who, I don't know what species she is. She's just a little thing. And they kind of live in this post-apocalyptic world. Fast forward, there's no humans. We can assume that they all died because of like nuclear fallout. So like they live in the middle of what used to be the ocean, is now a desert. They live in like this like little town called Sunrain's Refuge. And the 3-minute thesis film is just kind of like a little glimpse into the world. It is Cliff and Fishes defending their town from these like bandits who come in and try to steal their energy source. So it's like a quick little 3-minute thing, but I've already just been expanding on this with my friend Devin, who produced it. This has kind of been our baby since like freshman year is when we first came up with these characters, and we've like held them so near and dear to our hearts our entirety of time at SCAD. So we really do want to eventually, maybe when the thesis film is released onto YouTube, have a Kickstarter of some sort to fund like a cohesive like 10-minute pilot for this, because I would love to make it a real show.
As a little secret here and there, she is working on a horror game, so be on the lookout of that. Now, I heard she's been talking to some people like the Pompey's Playtime creator, as well as Unique Geese of Indigo Park. So some ideas are brewing. They're brewing. The difficult thing when it comes to pursuing such ideas is mainly time. Between 2020 and June 2024, she'd be attending SCAD, which a joking acronym for the college is Sleep Comes After Death, due to the massive workload these artists have to endure. So if graduating, you have to get into the mindset that not only are you done with college, but you need money for food and bills. And so the question of, do I want to pursue freelance or industry work, is a thought that came to their mind.
So the industry right now, we know, is bad. It's in a really bad spot. The goal is to do YouTube freelance, work on these side gigs, have fun. If the industry improves, I would love love to like be a storyboard artist. I would love to work as an animator. I would love to work on people's like real like shows being put out on the, you know, but right now it doesn't seem very likely. Honestly, with the state of the industry, I'm kind of anticipating there to be a lot more strikes and protests before we ever get to a spot to where I feel comfortable working with these big platforms and these big companies and studios.
Of course, this isn't for everyone. Robin is in a special situation where they can pursue animation on YouTube in full-time-ish length. I mentioned the word full-time-ish, that's a real word, I think, because they worked on a couple of freelance projects. The three major ones I'll focus on would be Ramshackle, Hell of a Boss, and Digital Hallucination. Let's start with the first one, how she came to work on that project.
ZEZ, I actually saw a post that they were looking for a rough animator. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna reach out, and I reached out like just in time. They're like, I was literally just about to close applications, but I just saw that you applied, and I like your stuff. I've been a fan of your work, so let me squeeze you in. I was like, yeah! So I got to come in pretty late, and I animated a handful of shots. I think I animated like 3, and I still need to post them, but I also got to like cameo in the audience when it pans to like all the people in the crowd. I got to be one of the cameos, which is really cool, and it was really fun. It probably was most fun working on an indie project thus far. It was just really cool. It was really chill. ZEZ is a great director, great person.
Next would be Hell of a Boss, which would be a bit more consistent work overall.
So I've been at Spindlehorse for a year now. Yeah, a little over a year now.
You gonna keep working there?
Yeah, I think that right now I'm sort of in like a part-time position because I can't really dedicate doing it full-time just yet because I have my own channel to run and I was in college. But it's a fun side gig. I really do enjoy it. It's fun to be a part of the episodes, and it's honestly just like good practice. The characters are always a challenge to animate, so I like it because it like kind of keeps me on my toes. It keeps me refreshed and working.
Last but not least would be that of Oreo's music video. Not Oreo like the company, but Oreo the musician.
Oreo reached out to me honestly back in like 2019, 2020, and I did a music video with her, CG5, and DA Games, and that was the first time we kind of collaborated on something, and we've been in contact ever since. And then she reached out to me when Digital Hallucination was getting made, and she was like showing me demos and stuff, and I was like, whoa, this is really cool. If you need, you know, like an artist, an animator, you know, let me know. And she was like, yeah, actually, I think I want to hire you to do it. I got to do the album art and like the art for the lyric video, and then I did like the full music video, and it was really fun. It was a great learning experience, and I would absolutely work with her again.
If you've been following her channel for any amount of time, you'd know that she's been working on her own Amazing Digital Circus song. When recently graduating, there are a lot of other projects she has to attend to that need to be completed first. But at least for now, we have the lyric music video for Abstraction, so go watch that right now after this video. Also, subscribe to this channel because I would love to look at the behind the scenes of that music video in detail after its release. And comment below when the final music video is out and tell me what you think, because future me, which will be present me when the future happens, will read them and go, thank you for commenting, thank you for that. Now, that was a lot of major stuff in edited detail, so we're gonna get a little looser for the next part. So the next section is gonna be all about your queries about KittenSneeze. But for now, before we get into that, we're gonna take a small break. We're gonna take a little break, and if you haven't hit that like button yet, you better do that. So you better subscribe, better leave a comment, cause I need it. Like I mentioned before, there's a lot of odds and ends about her and her works, so let's dive on in. There's not really going to be an animated thing, let's just dive on in. Rowan the Jabberwocky. How do you draw androgynous so well that I can't even tell if it make me question my sexuality? No, but really, drawing androgynous is so damn hard.
I guess it comes more naturally to me because I am non-binary, so I'm like very much viewing the world in like a non-binary lens, and there are artists who kind of view things male gazy, especially like when you see like how people draw certain characters. Like I have scrolled many times and found the most abhorrent art of like Pomni and even Anxiety from Inside Out, of like having just like the most voluptuous curves and like big boingas, and I'm like, this is not what they look like at all. I guess it just comes from like I draw characters kind of valuing their shape language and like what I'm trying to communicate about them more than I am trying to communicate what gender they are. So if they look androgynous because I'm not pushing certain features more, like preconceived, like this gender has these features, this gender has this, like that's a conscious effort I'm making because I don't want them to be perceived as this is just a boy character, this is a girl character. Like, no, I'm trying to communicate other things about this character first.
Linus Lucky, 1935. They're very old, actually. What's your favorite part of the creative process? What's the most frustrating?
I probably have the most fun during like the pre-production, like the ideation phase, making storyboards, animatics, thumbnails, and honestly, just like, especially with music, I'll just like get my headphones, my noise canceling headphones, and I'll just sit and I'll listen to the music, and I'll just let myself just completely zone out and imagine what I would want to see animated or boarded based off the music, and that's probably my favorite part. I love that. Least favorite part, probably post-production. I can edit, and I edit most of my videos, but it's the most frustrating. It's kind of like monotonous. It's not as fun as coming up with the ideas. It's just, you know, finalizing them, which I'm more of an idea guy.
Swift Life Official said she's great, and then a reply said they're non-binary, and then the first person said, oh.
I like that people defend me, but like also I said that I use any pronouns.
Toontastic6408. What was the hardest part of learning animation for you?
I think the hardest part is probably just understanding that anything meaningful you want to make is going to take a really, really long time to make it. Training yourself with the patience to do the monotonous task of drawing each frame over and over and over again. And even in SCAD, learning the hard way that in order to make it look really, really good, you like, even if a character is settling into a position and they're not moving, like they're static, you're still going to be redrawing those keyframes because it just makes it look better. It makes it look more alive instead of coming to a complete stop. So just going the extra mile to make the quality higher is definitely something you have to train yourself to do because it is not easy and you will probably get carpal tunnel from drawing. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's worth it for the cartoon. It's worth it. That's what I keep telling myself.
Malix and Mango 5034. To KittenSneeze, how do you keep yourself motivated to do project after project? I've been creating a project folder filled with cool projects I want to do illustrations for, but every time I finish a project, I feel myself more and more exhausted to complete the next one. Any tips on managing ideas would be greatly appreciated.
Make sure that you're being motivated because you're excited to make something, you have an idea to make something, and you're not just making it to make it. Once you have a good motivator, it becomes easier to be excited about the things that you're working on. And also just time management, make sure that you're working good hours, that you're factoring in breaks, you know, get up and stretch, take care of yourself. That also will play a role in it. If you're not taking care of your body, your body's not gonna wanna work. Just making sure that you're not biting off more than you can chew when you start on a project. Especially if you're new to the workflow, start small. Start small. When I was starting, it was easier to get through smaller projects because an end goal was in sight. I could just work straight through on something and it made me excited to know that it could get finished. So sometimes you have to start with the smaller, achievable projects in order to take on the bigger ones. You're more well prepared for it.
As I alluded to before, this is a pivotal part of Robin's life. Not only did she graduate college, but shortly after her interview just happened, she's moving out to a new place, so she has more free time than ever to work on projects. But when it comes to creating online, there are a lot of factors when it comes to posting and earning money. For KittenSneeze, they have the benefits of not only being an animator, but also a voice actor and musician as well, meaning they have a lot more avenues to generate revenue and sustain a living for their works. But in saying that, this doesn't allot them a lot of time for personal works. You see a lot of this with a lot of the artists I interviewed or talked about on my channel. Often it takes a bit of time for fans to get attached to characters, and transitioning to personal only animation will also take some time. This isn't a course without hurdles, as with the likes of Speederoo, he does have his own series, but in order to sustain that, there's a mix of freelance projects that he has to animate on. This is just a factor of life when it comes to being an online artist. But in some cases, some of them have second channels to generate revenue for the larger scale projects. Two channels I can point to be that at Oni Plays for their gaming team Oniware, as well as SMG4 for Glitch Productions. And having a more consistent stream of content for your fans, that also makes money, you're allotted more time for the personal projects. KittenSneeze has thought about this, either in bringing back the voice acted character let's plays, or just a general fun time with friends, just as themselves. Ultimately, it's up to them what they want to do. As with life, it's an open-ended book with the and rather than the and. But with all that is KittenSneeze, much like these other artists, she will persist artist or for endeavors online. With burnouts in the back of all artists' minds, I'd ask KittenSneeze what she does to stay going, stay sneezing.
When I graduated college, I was extremely burnt out, and the only way that I found that could truly like overcome it was to let myself rest and let myself engage in media, watch the shows I want to watch, and let that inspiration to create come back to me naturally until I literally couldn't stand not drawing anymore. I literally just let myself rest, forced myself to rest, and I kept watching things. I was like, oh wow, this is really cool. This is really motivating. This is inspiring. And what like the final nail in the coffin was I saw Inside Out 2, no surprise, adored that film. That was literally what pushed me out of art block. I was like, oh my God, I have so many ideas now. I have so many ideas to draw. I have so many ideas to make music. I want to create again. And that really helps preserve motivation, and purpose is really important when it comes to creating art, especially because so many people create art only to make money, and they're only thinking about how can I maximize the revenue that I'm getting from this, what is a trend. And that's where you get like content farm stuff that just, pointless art that does not serve any other purpose than this is making people click on it, this is giving me money. You don't want to create art because of that. You want to create art that you want to see. You want to make things that if you were a viewer stumbling into it, you would be elated to find it. I feel like that's really important. And the more that you make art that you want to see and you're like motivated from a genuine place, the more times you're going to see that does well because it's genuine and people can tell. You have to have faith in your audience too. You have to have faith that like what you're making is going to stand the test of time. You want to be creating evergreen content that people can revisit years down the line and be like, this was really good. Even if this fandom isn't popular anymore, I'm coming back to this content because somebody really popped off when they made this and it looks fantastic. With the Digital Circus song that I'm working on, Abstraction, this has been cooking for a while. Just the audio only took a really long time to come out. I've been sitting on this since the Digital Circus first released, which a year ago? Yeah, so it's been nearly a year, and I'm still working on the animated musical for Abstraction because I want it to be really good when it comes out. I want to take my time and make this animation really high quality. I want it to be something that is high fidelity, stands the test of time, people can come back to it, and they can also trust me as a creator that I'm not going to just be feeding them slop. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be the person that just pushes out stuff to push stuff out. I want to like the work that I'm doing, and I think people should follow the same code when they're making stuff if they want to like, build a better relationship with them and their audience, especially.
You